Hi everyone, Midweek Movie Recap here. Before I continue to review the film, it's a good thing for you to prepare snack first, and if you don't, please directly subscribe to the channel to support me to make a video. This time, we will discuss a film called Walled in 2009. The film begins by showing a small child trapped in a very narrow place. Not long after, from the sidelines of the wall began to come out somewhat seemingly quiet. The little girl could not go anywhere anymore. Inevitably, she had to drown in a pool of cement, and the film began. 15 years later, it is seen that a small family is celebrating the graduation of one of the girls named Sam. Sam has just graduated from an engineering school where the major is perfectly suited to his hobbies and abilities. As a gift, Sam was invited by her father to join his own father's company engaged in the field of building aviation. Of course, this invitation is very interesting for Sam. Moreover, he immediately got her first big project. Her father also prepares a ticket around Europe with her boyfriend Sam, named Peter, if Sam successfully completes this project. On that same day, Sam went straight to the project site, which will be her first assignment. Sam arrived at the location that is an apartment building. You can see by yourself that this building doesn't look like an apartment, but like a prison. The building was built by an architect named Straza in 1990. Sam is greeted by an apartment guard named Mary. Then, from the main door, there was a boy who had just entered the building. It turned out that this man was named Jimmy, who was Mary's son. At the time, his mother immediately told Jimmy to take Sam to room 208 and tell all the rules in this building. Having just ascended to the second floor, Sam was immediately shocked by the light that went out suddenly. In addition, Sam was also warned not to go up to the 8th floor or the roof of the building. For her own reason, it is not clear why Sam should not go to the 8th floor of the building. After being in her room, Sam was confused as to why there was one room marked as Julie's. But she didn't want to think strangely, and she immediately cleaned herself up right then and there. Then Sam meets Mary, who is traveling around the building. Sam is curious and she asks Mary, actually how many residents live in this apartment. Uniquely, all the residents in this apartment only number 4 people, where 2 people consist of Mary and Jimmy, and 2 more permanent residents. However, Sam thought there was something strange why the old occupants in this room didn't bring all the furniture. The next day, Sam prepares to analyze the structure of building and determine the best explosive point. Sam is in charge of providing a report on how much TNT it takes to tear down this building. She also had to determine the point of location and what TNT makes the structure of the building. A few hours later, she went straight to one of the convenience stores to buy some food and drinks. Out of curiosity, she borrowed a computer to browse about the history of the building. From this, she learned of the fact that Straza and 60 others had died hardened within the walls. This tragedy occurred in 1993, which is more precisely 3 years after the apartment was built. Arriving at the building, Sam again marked the best location point for the invasion of the building. But she was surprised by a man who ran toward her while carrying an axe. It turned out that this man was one of the residents who didn't accept the news of the eviction of the apartment. At night, Sam is suddenly invited by Jimmy to go to the 8th floor. Even though Jimmy himself forbids Sam to go up, but this time he invites Sam. While climbing the 8th floor, Jimmy tells the story of Straza who died inside the wall. Even today, there is still a room that bears witness to the strange incident. Jimmy also told her that of the 16 victims, there was a small child named Julie. Yes, if you remember, it is a room that is a room 2008. Plus, the scene at the beginning of the film actually shows the incident that happened to Julie. After arriving in the room, Sam is shown several walls that bear witness to the death of Julie, Straza, and Jimmy's father. Jimmy's father was also a victim. Jimmy was still in his mother's stomach. For Straza, figures only depicted on the gravity of the wall. From that picture, Jimmy began to scare Sam while joking. Strangely, from a distance, Sam realized there is someone looking at her. When Jimmy tries to chase after that person and leaves Sam alone. While still in such a state, the flashlight even died suddenly, and it made Sam panic until it failed. Fortunately, Jimmy managed to find Sam and immediately invited her out of the room. Sam, who had previously fallen, got wounded on her knee. Jimmy offered to treat her with pleasure, but because of the opportunity, Jimmy was the one to treat while stroking Sam's feet. Sam was conscious at the time and she immediately became suspicious, so it made Jimmy embarrassed. At night, Sam was reflecting on the glass behind her, shaking strongly. After the mirror is lifted, the nail that becomes the place for the mirror even bleeds without cause. But suddenly, Sam is immediately pulled into the wall and she wakes up in condition confined in it. Even more terrifyingly, her body slowly has to sink in the cement alive. Luckily, it all turned out to be just a nightmare and didn't really happen to Sam. A bad night's sleep on the second day woke up Sam while checking his own room. She was surprised by the presence of her boyfriend named Peter, who came to this place without giving news. At that time, Sam and her boyfriend were secretly desperate to go up to the 8th floor. Sam accidentally saw a sign next to the door. Uniquely again, in the sign there is a button that works, and sure enough, there is a secret entrance there. It turned out that inside the door there was a hole that was so deep, surprising her from inside. The hole was apparently able to see the contents of the bathroom in room 2008. In other words, all this time when Sam's bed had been picked at by Jimmy secretly. Not until there, in the hole there, was another door containing lens fills. At the same time, Mary appeared in front of them and Mary was immediately confused as to why Sam had arrived here. After that moment, Sam reported everything to Mary that Jimmy had secretly been watching her in the bathroom. Jimmy was hit by his mother scolding and he ran away from their presence. But even though he had reported, Sam still didn't think that Jimmy could be that late. Peter, who is there, seduced Sam to forget everything and he invited Sam to go home tomorrow morning. But before that night, they had intercourse first. On the other hand, Jimmy, who was in front of Sam's room, could only hear their intimacy while grieving. The next day, Sam prepared all her clothes to leave at that very moment. A report from her analysis has also been prepared and will be given to her father, who in tearing down this building required approximately 600 kg of TNT. Before splitting up, Jimmy took the time to apologize and give a gift to Sam. It turned out that the gift was a book taken by Jimmy from the old grandmother's room. The book itself is an original tribute of Melisstra's handwriting that covers the structure of the building intake. Hearing that, Sam became enthusiastic and found out about the explanation of the book. Then Sam and Peter are invited by Jimmy to find out in the 8th floor room. But Jimmy is no longer there and all that is here is a cry for help. There was another room on the 8th floor that led to a big hole. At the very time, Sam intends to go down to the hole to help Jimmy who fell, while Peter stands guard at the top while holding out his pulley rope. At first, everything went smoothly, but suddenly there was a sharp iron that was fired at Peter automatically. Peter was caught bleeding in front of his girlfriend's eyes. It also made the pulley rod not restrain it anymore, and finally Sam fell from a height. A few moments after that, Sam woke up wearing no clothes in the hole. Strangely, she was not alone in being there, but there was a mysterious man. How shocking that Melistra is still alive and confined in this apartment hole. He also held a radio in which Jimmy's voice was asking for help. In other words, the voice heard by Sam early was a made-up voice at lies. Then from the top of the hole, there was Jimmy who accidentally threw a letter. In the letter, it is written that Jimmy didn't let Sam leave this apartment with the intention of Jimmy wanting Sam to learn how to love Jimmy without the slightest compulsion. Jimmy secretly sent Sam's work report to her own father's company. He even accidentally sank Sam's car into the lake. All this is done by Jimmy to make the perception as if Sam didn't come home because she went on vacation with Peter. Now in the hole, Sam can only pay attention to Melisstra's movement. Not long after that, Jimmy emerged from the top of the hole and gave a cassette tape to the architect. Then Melistra said that when the boy gave the order, then we had to obey him. Then Jimmy told the two of them to dance in front of him while accompanied by a song. Worse, Jimmy also told the two of them to kiss and stop according to his orders. As a gift, Jimmy gave a walkie-talkie to Sam and he also gave fruits to Melistra. On the other hand, the male occupants of the apartment were forced to leave the building because soon the building would be torn down. The old grandmother remained in the building and didn't know what was going to happen. Sam, who feels out of mind trying to seduce Jimmy, she told Jimmy that she needed drugs because she was injured. Not until there, Sam also admitted that she really liked it when Jimmy stroked his leg that night. Even Sam deliberately undressed in front of Jimmy's eyes to seduce him. But it turned out to be useless, and until now Sam didn't get help. Instead, the rain that poured the ground in the hall made Sam surprised because it turned out that her boyfriend's body was secretly buried by Malestraza in the land. And it's clear it's all done order from Jimmy. Malestraza told Sam that he had been locked up here for 5,106 days. He also told her that everything Mary told the police was fake news. Mary tells me that Malestraza was still inside the wall when the person who died on the wall was another resident. Malestraza was brought by Mary into this hole as a form of revenge because her husband had died as a result of Malestraza's idea. Malestraza admits that primitive beliefs about the structure of the building are still believed today. With the existence of living things that are lumped as victims, the building is believed to be sturdier than usual. At the same time, Mary suspected why Sam didn't tell her when she wanted to say goodbye. At that time, Mary immediately went to the 8th floor and heard the sound of Sam's scream from under the hole. But strangely, she instead closed the hole and immediately scolded Jimmy as grumpy as he was. Mary is confused why Jimmy could do this when this hole was made to lock up Malestraza. Mary is afraid that this action will be known by police and will certainly make them both go to the prison. In the afternoon, the explosive team who got a report letter from Sam had arrived at the apartment. In other words, Jimmy's plan was worked and made Sam's father not suspicious at all. Sam continues to seduce Jimmy so he can change his mind to save Sam. Sam also said, "How can I learn to love you when I'm no longer in this world?" Malestraza didn't give permission to all to escape from this hole. He immediately tied Sam's hand in the hole while digging a grave that was designed by himself. The cemetery was deliberately designed by Malestraza with several streams of pipes connected to cement tanks. Malestraza believed that when the explosive tried to tear down this building would not be destroyed if there was additional creatures buried alive. At that moment, Sam secretly picked up a sharp iron behind Malestraza. When she wanted to stab Malestraza was not surprised at all, and he explained that was what he wanted. Malestraza needed the help of Sam for a while, who is tasked with killing Malestraza right now. I really think Malestraza is a bad guy and intends to kill Sam, but at the very moment he told everyone to kill himself, and with a heavy heart, Sam had to stick the iron into Malestraza's body many times. At the end of his breath, he thanked Sam for helping him to die inside the building, which was his own work. Outside the building ready to explode is counting backwards to blow up the TNT that has been planted. But luckily, suddenly Jimmy changed his mind and saved Sam right then and there. As a result, the countdown was immediately cancelled and Sam's mother was frightened because of her son's confession. Sam's father was surprised how his daughter could be in that hole. Jimmy apologized to Sam's father and jumped into the hole. And finally, Jimmy had to die next to the woman of his dreams. Sam was rescued. Mary, herself as Jimmy's mother, had to spend the rest of her life in prison because she was involved in this act of captivity. In the ending scene of this film, Sam praises all the work of Malestraza where there have been 27 buildings made by Malestraza. Amazingly, until now, the whole building is still standing upright and sturdy, plus the apartment eviction plan is not done to honor the service of Malestraza. Okay, that's the story of the movie Walled In. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe also if you haven't. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video.